Hi guys, so I said I was going to be doing a video very soon on putting tracks and the clicks and the guides together in Ableton into different sections that we can loop and go back to and go forward to, and getting each section to play automatically right after each other, so that once you've fired off that track, it just runs straight through without you having to do anything. That's what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to use some of the Ampersand stems that we've been using for when we've been performing live. And this one is going to be Black Eye. So we're going to look at Black Eye. Here is my session, and all I've done is set up the tracks with the names of the instruments that we're going to be using. That's all there is. Yeah, there's no routing change. I've got something going on over here. That's just from a microphone to record this video. Everything else is just going out with your normal stereo master out at the moment. So that's all that's going on in there. So I've got my tracks and I've got my stems in here as WAV files. So go into this view here, go to the start, and all I'm going to do is drag these in to this view here. Now you see this little message at the bottom that was in yellow there. This is gonna, if I drop them here now, it's gonna just load them all the way along horizontally. I want them vertically because I want them in the separate tracks. So if you press Command, there we go, it's gonna drop them all into separate tracks when you let go. So there we have all our different tracks. This is the full stereo studio mix, but in stem form. So start off, you can hear that pulse going. We get into it. You know, it's the full track. Everything is there. It's all mixable. You know, we've got everything in there. So that's there. That's ready to go. So that's the first step. The next step is making sure that our Ableton session is at the same tempo as the track. If it's not, when we come to put our clicks in later, we're going to have an absolute nightmare trying to get that to sync up. If we're having to put them all in manually. Yeah, so I know that this tempo for this track is over here, 72.5 BPM, because when I put the metronome on and play along, yeah, that fits it. So that's all in time and all matches up, which is great. So that's step 2. Step 3, we're going to cut this now up into sections, into intros, verses, choruses, and that sort of thing, and drop them into the session view, which is this one here, session view, arrangement view. So we're dropping them out of the arrangement view into the session view, because the session view is what we're going to use when we're using the tracks and when we're using them live. So let's start off by playing the track from the start, and we'll see where our first section might end. Okay, so I would call that the first half of the intro, and it's quite handy to cut them up into different sections, because if you may need to repeat that intro, and having different sections with different layers, different textures is going to be really handy. So we go up to here. That's the start of our next section. So what we're going to do is make an edit in the track, and that's just done with Command E. Command E, you can just press the down arrow to go through all the tracks, or you can go like this, click where the edit was, drag down to here, Control E on all of them. Okay, so that is our first section. That is just the first section of the intro that we're going to be using. Now we select all of those that we've cut out, and all you're going to do is drag them, as we dragged the audio files before, into this icon here. So they're into this view, and you're going to drag them so that they match up with the tracks. So your bass matches up with the bass. So in, and there we are. That is our first scene, which if we fire off this setting here, it fires all of those separate audio files for that first section off. Now if I carry on playing this to the end, you'll notice that it will just stop dead after that section. A couple more bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, gone. Right? Now, we're obviously going to put the next section in, but what we don't want is for it to just stop after that section. Yeah? We want it to carry on. So let's get our next section together. Okay, start the verse there, so that's where I'm going to make the next edit. We work our way down, and there we are. Section 2, same process as before, drag it underneath. Now I've renamed these Intro 1 and Intro 2. And that's Intro 2 and Intro 1 there as well. Now, you'll notice, as we did before, we play this. One, two, three, four. It stops. Okay, it doesn't go to that next section. That's not what we want. Now this is built because what you may want to do is have that play and then you bring in another section that isn't necessarily all in vertical order, as we're going to have it here. But we just want the whole track to play start to finish, but have that flexibility to repeat. So the way we're going to do that is we select all of our first section and we go into this section here, just select one of them. So just select one of them. So the bass here, we go into this first section, and you can see here that that is our bass track. Now we're going to want to warp that in time. So we see this first section now, that is 6 bars long. Yeah, that was our first bit of the intro, it's 6 bars long. So let's select this first set of clips here. We're going to want to set them all to warp. It's going to be easier in the future, and put them into complex mode because that seems to be the best for this sort of thing. All rounded, good time stretching. I mean, we're not time stretching anyway because it's all the same tempo, so you won't really notice a difference, other than if you wanted to change the tempo of the track when you perform it. So again, they're all 6 bars. We go into this legato section here. That is going to give us some control over the way the clips are launched. So let's set this quantization to 1 bar. Now what that's doing is, if we did want to repeat a section, if you fire off that section within a bar, so within 4 beats before the next section, it will move seamlessly in time into the next section. Now you can set it to global, which means that this section here is controlling all of them. But for some of the tracks we're using for Ampersand, not necessarily this one, but some of them, we have different bars of different time signatures, so that wouldn't work as easily. You wouldn't have as much customization. So there we go. 1 bar, that's for later. But this is the important section. This is what we need. So we know it's 6 bars long. This is bars, beats, and I don't know what this one is actually. Bars, beats, and a subdivision of that beat. I don't really ever use that small section, but we've got bars, beats. So after 6 bars, choose 6 there, we want it to move on to the next section. And that's all of those across there horizontally, all of those bits there. After 6 beats, we'll move on to the next section. This here is just the probability that that will happen. So to be a bit more creative, you might put, the probability of this happening to this happening. So you can set a different thing here, and you would have some things happen that you weren't expecting. We want it to definitely move on every time. So probability is 1. So that is section, and what you'll find now, if we fire this off again, seamless. You didn't hear any join or anything there. It was just seamless into the next section, and that's what we want. So yeah, all you're going to do then is just carry on doing that. You carry on with the next section. So I'll do a couple more. So I know that's a section there. Put that one in. First one. Okay, that's another verse there. So we'll just do that much for now. We'll just do those sections. You would obviously carry on and do the rest of them, but that's, you know, I don't need to show you that. It's just got the first setting done. So let's move on to this section. We have got this one, which is 4 bars long. So as we did before, select them all, set them all to warp. 4 bars, we want it to move on. Next, go to a bar. That's all we're doing each time. And we've done it a few times, you get the hang of it and you realize what you need to be doing. So this section, a quicker way to count bars, you can go 1, 2, you know, but if you drag this over here and just select the bit that we've got in that clip, it will actually tell you down here how long it is. Now that is a bit of an odd length. There's 9 bars and 2 beats. So it's quite handy to have that because you'd maybe miss that and just count them as whole bars. So 9 bars and 2 beats. We're going to next. I haven't actually selected them all there, so let's do that. There we are, and then after this one, it's just going to stop. So we'll do that for now. And interlude. Okay, so pretend that's your whole track done. That's now the biggest step. Really, that is the trickiest step, and that is done. So that's then moving on automatically in a nice, smooth sort of fashion. So that's that bit. Next one, we're going to have some guides, aren't we? So let's put a track over here. Bring this back over to the, I tap it to the left of the track. Okay, so this one is needs to be a MIDI track actually. So let's put a MIDI track in. There we go. Now it's going to be a lot easier to run the clicks and the guides as MIDI files rather than audio files. If you're using audio files, you'd have to have you know, audio clips of clicks. That are going to fit. You'd have to have all the cues as audio files and drag them all in. They'd all have to be in time. It's so much easier if you could just have an instrument, virtual instrument, that triggers the audio as MIDI clips, MIDI files. So I have actually got in here, if I search Q, yeah, I've got an LC Q pack here as an instrument, a drum rack. I'm going to drag that into here. Now this is actually from this website here, multitracks.com. It was free, it's now not. I think it's now about $5, but they do have free versions on this website that do the same job. They don't have as many cues, and the clicks themselves are not quite as punchy, but they are free. So if you don't want to spend the money, this will do the job. And all you'll be doing there is downloading those. Let's get rid of this for now. Go. Download a drum rack in there, and these are actually the files here that are on that website. And all you'd be doing is selecting all of these and drag them in like that. Now these are mostly for worship tracks, so a lot of the cues are worship related, but you know, you've got your standard verse, chorus ones. So let's use this drum rack. Now what we're going to want is a click, just a standard 4-beat click to keep us in time with the track, because we won't be able to use the Ableton built-in one because that can't be routed out to different outputs. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this MIDI file in now for the click. So we go down here, we can see all of the things we've got, and we've got a bar there. So all we're going to need is beat 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then we're going to make sure that that loops here. It's going to loop from position 1, 1, 1, and it's going to loop for a bar. So all that's going to do is just keep looping until the next section's moved on. Yep. So if we fire that off. And there we go, stays in time. Now I'm just going to drag it onto here as well. Because then when we hit this section, there we go. It's going to carry it on, and we're just going to have a click going right the way through. There we go. Now say we want a cue in there. Let's have a look at this section, which is 4 bars long. So if these are all 4 bars long, let's make this 4 bars long. So dragging this line along until we get to 4 bars. There we go, we have 4 bars. Let's drag this click out as well.
One. There
we go. It says our click, and then we want a verse cue here as well. So let's put a verse. And then we could even have a 2, 3, 4, which I usually like to put in.
2, 3, 4.
Okay, so now let's fire off our intro 2 and have a listen. We should have a verse cue here.
Verse 2, 3, 4.
And we do, and there we are. We're into the next section, and you would just follow that right the way down, as we've done there, down, 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 all the way down, until the track's done. That is the very basic setup. That is all that's been done there. This group track would then be routed out to the front of house output on your mixer or your interface, and this would be routed out to a mono or stereo output for the headphone mix. That's it. That is a very basic setup. This was just a little part within my full Ableton template from last week's video. So as you can see, there's still a lot goes into just this small section of that whole thing, but that is what's going on. So drag your files in, cut them into sections, add how many bars each one is before you want it to move on, add some clicks and cues in, and do the same thing with those, make sure they're the right lengths, and then you're done. And that is all that there is to it. So yeah, I hope you found that helpful if you were looking to use Ableton for this sort of thing. Got any questions, please comment and ask, and I will do my best to help out. Thanks for watching.
Sing to me, my eyes